Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. So I know it's been a little bit. I told you guys that life has been a little bit crazy, and that is what it has been. I'm just trying to sort out going back to work and being in that environment that just, it's an interesting situation. My first day back is tomorrow, so there's that. That's why I've kind of been MIA, been trying to figure out all of that, pulling my life together, and the creepy doll is now back in the video for this video. Anyways, guys, so I thought I would do a story time, and I know I briefly discussed this in passing videos, but I thought I'd go into more detail about this because, funny enough, this actually came up in a conversation over the weekend that I had with a really close friend that was actually involved in this story. So story time is we are going back to my good old high school. So what took place is, this was, I would say, grade 12. I'm pretty sure grade 12. So this was at the rough point of just everything coming to head. You know, the school was sick and tired of me, and they were trying to please the group of 6, and, you know, they didn't want to upset them and whatnot because of everything that was going on with the brother's father. And it got to the point where it was really just aggravating. Because to the point where it's like I couldn't breathe without getting into trouble. And you're gonna say, Jess, this is really... And I wish that this was just some childish bullshit, but in fact, it is not. So to go into more detail what this story is there was me, my really close friend, that's basically like a best friend, and another friend, and we were just hanging out at lunch. So we were, those are 3 of us. So there was 2 females, so me, another female, and a male. And we were just hanging out. Like, we were really just hanging out, doing fun stuff. There was nothing intriguing. There wasn't anything, like, sketchy we were doing. We were literally sitting on... My school was here. We walked out the parking lot, and then just past the parking lot, there was a hill. And we were just literally sitting on the hill at lunch break, just hanging out, talking about random shit that teenagers do. And I'm pretty sure these 2 friends thought that I was just kind of like mentally just over everything, and they were trying to make me laugh, and we were just having a really good time. Like, it wasn't anything secretive. We were out in the open, we were joking around, we were laughing, we were having a really good time. I was relaxed. So the male friend, I don't know if he was trying to show off or just, like, you know, be macho, and he was trying, in a way, he was trying to show off, and he ended up doing this stupid move, and he fell down the hill. The hill wasn't that large, but he literally fell down the hill and landed on his leg wrong. And at first, we didn't know, like, what was going on, but he's, like, just frozen for a second, and then he was just like, holy shit, my leg hurts. And we were all like trying to figure out. And me, because I was in this college and also doing high school, I had to get my first aid certification. Don't know why, it was just a thing. I guess you needed it for the cooking and baking program that I was doing. So I went into first aid mode. Don't know why, that's just where I went to. And, like, I was checking it out. From what I could tell, there was no broken bones. It just looked like he twisted his knee wrong. And lo and behold, the lunch bell rang for lunch to be over. So I was like, okay, this is not good. Like, we need to get you inside the school. And my friend was just like, yo, I don't think I can put pressure on it. So I'm like, okay, so why don't me and this other friend help you? And this other friend was like, I can't, I have this, like, test going on, so I can't be late to class. I was like, that's fine, whatever. I can be a few minutes late to class. Like, this is important. I'm helping a friend. Like, it's no big deal. So I'm helping him down the hall. He's hobbling. He's tall. He's like 6 foot something. I'm only 5'10". So he, like, it was a little bit of an awkward situation, right? And, like, we would have to stop every, like, few feet because he was in a lot of pain. So it took us a little bit, I would say 5-10 minutes to get from the hill to the other side of the school, inside the building, to the office. So by the time we get there, you know, it's been a little bit and whatnot. And, like, I go into the office and the secretary's like, "What are you doing here, Miss Hannon?" And I was just like, so-and-so fell and hurt himself. And he couldn't really walk, so I'm helping him. Like, he's a fan, like, you know, that's what nice people do. They help friends. So I sat him in the chair, and, sorry, a book was gonna fall. And, like, the vice principal came out, or the principal, one of them, and they, like, rolled their eyes, like, "That's enough, go back to class." I was like, okay. So I told my friend, I was like, "Hey, so-and-so, I guess they're gonna look after you. You okay?" He's like, "Yeah, cool, thanks. I'm fine, Jess." So I'm like, okay. And then I just turned to the secretary and whoever was there. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna head off to class. This is my class. I know I'm gonna be late. I'll take the hit." And they were all standing around looking extremely pissed off at me. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I go to my class. And I do believe it was drama class at the time. So I'm going into my drama class. And we're just hanging out. And all of a sudden, I get called down to the office. Like, 20 minutes later. I'm like, okay, well, maybe they need me to do an incident report or whatever, like, maybe, whatever. So I go down there, I was like, first of all, I want to make sure my friend's okay, and they're like, yeah, he's fine. I was like, okay, and then I got pulled into the principal's office and sat down in a chair. I was like, oh, okay, what's up? Like, I wasn't like that, I just sat down, I was like, for fuck's sakes, like, what's going on now? This is what I was thinking. I didn't say that out loud. And the principal is just, like, on the phone and then puts it down. She's like, "Oh, what were you doing at lunch today?" I was like, what? Okay. So I just ran through it. I was like, I was hanging out with so-and-so and so-and-so. He fell down the hill. Lunch was over. I helped him to the hall. To the office. There was no big deal. We were just having fun. We were just, like, joking around, doing nothing. Just hanging out as friends do. And she's like, "Is that it?" I was like, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, there's nothing to it. Like, you know. She's like, "Well, I hate to tell you this, but so-and-so and so-and-so saw you." A few members of the group of 6. And I was like, okay, what does this have to do with them? Like, I'm hanging out with friends. And they're like, "Well, they saw you laughing." I was like, as one does, because so-and-so was telling a joke. Okay. And, like, I was, at this point, I was getting really, really aggravated. I was like, okay, what is the big, like, kerfuffle here? Like, what is going on? Like, what's the big deal? And they're like, "Well, they took it as you were looking for attention." I was like, attention for what? Like, I was a little bit sassy at this point, because I was just like, I'm missing class. What the actual fuck is the point of this? And they're like, "Well, were you?" I'm like, huh? I'm like, "No, I wasn't looking for attention. I'm hanging out with friends. Like, what, can't I do that? Like, you don't have to be dramatic, Jess." And I was like, I'm not. It's a logical question. I'm getting called to the office for laughing and hanging out with friends because so-and-so took it the wrong way that I'm looking for attention. That's not me being dramatic. That is just stating a fact that... What? And they're like, "Well, we're going to take it as you were looking for attention to make so-and-so and so-and-so jealous. I'm like, how in the actual fuck? And I did this. I actually swore. They were pissed off about it. I didn't give a shit at this point. I was like, how is that looking for attention when I'm hanging out with a friend, boy and girl? I wasn't groping anybody. Nobody was groping me. I wasn't having sex in the middle of the school lawn. I was just hanging out with a bunch of friends. How is that looking for attention, and how is that relevant to so-and-so? I was literally at loose ends. Like, I was just so fucking pissed and done at this point. Like, I was just like, this is just stupid. Like, actual stupidity. And I got suspended. In school suspension for 2 days. 2 days. For having fun. With friends. That is my life. That is what I went through. I was so goddamn pissed off. And it, like, the logic behind it was just a whole bunch of bullshit. I was in the middle of a fucking lunch break. On a hill. In an open goddamn field. With friends. Having fun. And I got in trouble for it. Like, I was just so done. And it got to the point where it's just like, this wasn't new. This continuously happened. There's like so many little stories that I can go into that I've, you know, touched on here, and a lot of people want me to go into detail. So, my best friend, we have known each other for 20 plus years. This is Captain B. I talked about him in a few videos. And I don't know, with Captain B, I mean, yes, that was my drunken name that I gave him. I think the group of 6 were threatened by him. In fact, I know that they were threatened by him because they kept trying to physically fight him. They really wanted to cut off all of my contact with good people in my life. Like, they cut off ties with my family. Like, I was having really rough times with my family. The school was no longer helping or supporting me, not that they ever did. And then, like, it seemed like Captain B was the only, thing standing in their way to have complete and somewhat full control over me and my environment. And that is one thing I refused to back down on, of losing my friendship with Captain B, is because we've known each other for so long. We literally lived 2 streets over from each other. It wasn't anything like scandalous. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up with boys, and I've talked about this in videos. Well, my class, I was the only girl. Oh, there was another girl, but she was part-time. So it was literally just me with boys. And I became a tomboy. I, you know, was roughhousing with the guys. I was, you know, getting muddy and playing sports and whatnot. And it wasn't anything sexual. I mean, primary school. Hello. But, like, that's just how I grew up. I grew up with guys. So me having guy friends was, I never thought of it as a big problem. Even, you know, past puberty and all that stuff, I never thought that it was a problem, right? Or that it was wrong, quote unquote. And to the school, it was, I guess, very wrong, to the point of, like, whatever the group of 6 said went. And I don't know why. These were fucking adults, and they were just treating this like a big childish bullshit game. So I've talked about how Captain B hugged me in the hallway, as he does. I mean, he did with all his lady friends. Like, again, nothing sexual. That was just how he was raised, as just, you know, well, I'm an affectionate human being. And you know, I went into that, how I got suspended for that. So there was another situation where we were out, not near the smoker's pit, but we were out having a smoke. Well, I mean, he was, and I was kind of like trying to hide that I was smoking at the time, but he knew, so I always bummed a smoke off of him. And it was just like this whole, like, it was this whole situation. Anyways, and there was a few of the members of the group of 6, and they were trying to egg me on, and I can tell that it was upsetting Captain B, so I just kind of, like, dragged him away from the situation. And again, it was nothing, like, sexual, like, anything. It was just like, hey, Cap, so-and-so, come with me. We're just gonna go for a little bit of a walk. There was a park, you know, whatever. We just walked away from the situation. Because at this point, again, it was the whole situation of, like, that no contact order, which I did a video about. And I was removing myself from the situation, right? As a mature person would do, remove yourself from the situation and just move on. So that's what I did. We moved on from the situation, and that was that. We just walked away, we hung out, blah, blah, blah. The bell rang, and, you know, he was the gentleman to open up the door. You know, it was nothing ever like we were groping each other in the hallways, screwing like rabbits in the hallway. It was never like that. It was just a very, you know, close relationship, like best friends, except we were the opposite sex. I was female, he was male. Like, you know? And again, it never crossed my mind that this was like inappropriate to the school, right? Or like wrong in any way, shape, or form. So, you know, he would hold open the doors, blah, blah, blah. You know, if there was time, he would walk you to the class, make sure you got there okay, if it was on the way. Or he would just give you a hug. Like, oh, hey, you know, see you later type of thing. Nothing like, let me grope your ass type of thing. Like, anyways. I'm just trying to get this point across because this is where it gets fucking stupid. Of course. Such is life. I went to class, and this was my cooking class, right? And this is going to be the second time that this situation happened to me, where I got an in-school suspension, but got placed with one of the group of 6. Let me break it down for you. So I talked about how I got placed, it was a whole fucking thing, okay? So, very similar to the last situation. I did a video about this a while ago, I think last year. Anyways, so my baking teacher looked at me very disgustingly, and when I arrived to class, and like, this was a disgusting look, like he was disgusted in me, and I was very confused, because I was like, what the fuck? Like, you're an adult? Like, why are you... And I get it. A lot of these teachers were at their loose ends with this bullshit, because to them it seemed really petty and bullshitty. And again, I was the troublemaker of this whole thing. And they were just blatantly disappointed in me. Sorry if you hear kids screaming. My window's open. It's hot as fuck. You're gonna hear that. I hear that all fucking day. Anyways. So anyways. And not that they would hide it, they would literally, I've talked about this in other videos too, that they would literally say that they were disappointed in me, that I was a disgrace to the school. They would not hide this shit, they would blatantly say it in front of the class. Anyways, so my cooking teacher said, yeah, you're being sent down to the office again, pack up your stuff and just go. Just leave my classroom, just go. I'm like, okay. So I go to the office. But of course, I get in trouble for hanging out with my best friend. And granted, the school knew we were best friends. They also knew we lived 2 streets over from each other. And they knew we've known each other for a very long time. This was not hidden. This wasn't like this magical, like, oh, you know, secrets and stuff. It was very well known, okay? But again, I got in trouble for being inappropriate with a guy in front of the members of the group of 6 that I was egging them on, that this is what, you know, they were afraid I would do, because most of them had new girlfriends or new lady friends or whatever, and I was jealous, apparently. And I was using my best friend as a weapon against them. And I was like, okay, first of all, no, I don't use human beings as weapons, ever. Second of all, they were calling me a whole bunch of inappropriate names. Did you get that on your list? And second of all, I can hang out with whoever the fuck I want. It's none of your damn business. And it doesn't have to mean it's about them. The world ain't about them. I was really pissed off. And I guess, you know, my language wasn't appropriate either. But, you know, at this point, I don't give a shit. And I literally got an in-school suspension for 4 days. Now, this is where, like, the situation, the first situation happened was where they said, and literally there was a paper that said in-school suspension for 4 days, and that I was going to be sent to another class, and this teacher I would have to get marked up. Like, this in-school suspension my in-school suspensions were stupid. I'm just going to put it that way. So I would literally pick up my work from my classes that day, go to another classroom with a whole bunch of other people, and I would sit in a corner and do my work for those classes. Okay? And then that teacher would have to sign off that I was there. Okay? Well, lo and behold, guess who was in this class? Yep. One of the 6. And not to top it off, one of the fucking brothers. Really? 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 This is the bullshit that I wish that this was made up. That I was just pulling this out of my ass. But this is literally what I went through. And this was literally the second time. And the teacher saw my face as I walked into the classroom handing them this paper. And they could tell I was just over it, not impressed. I was just fucking done. And, you know, I sat down and did my work, and of course, you know, the brother was being a complete asshole and dick, and then he would switch and be really, really nice to me. And again, I was not having it, I was just doing my work. So anyways, this went on for 4 fucking days. And then I went to the office, because this sheet of paper I had to get signed for 4 days. I had to hand it in. And I got pulled into the VP's office, okay, that gave me this instruction of that I'm going to be in school suspension for 4 days. And I got my ass chewed out for it, because she said that she didn't say that I was going to be in school suspension for 4 days. That it was just going to be for a day. Okay, just process that for a minute. She gave me a piece of paper that I had to get signed for 4 consecutive days, because it said an in-school suspension for 4 fucking days. I go and hand it in, and I get my ass chewed out for that. She said that it was only for 1 day, and that I was somehow just wanting to make it about me and being with one of the group of 6. Process that for a minute. I'll hold. So I turned around and gave her the piece of paper and said, "This is your signature. This is what you wrote on it. Here, take it. I'll wait." And she Sorry, my feet are asleep. She literally looked at it and she didn't know what to say. And she's like, well, you know, I'll review this and I'll think about it. I'm like, hold up. There's nothing to think about. You cannot chew out my ass and make this some magically about me when this is your signature. And granted, I this is what I literally said to her. This is the second time you've done this bullshit to me and stuck me on a 4-day suspension in a classroom with one of them when you literally all stipulated that we were to have a no contact order rule in the school with me and them. I'm like, this is not me. This is on you, so figure out your shit. And I walked out of the office. I did not give a shit at this point. I was just so pissed and so over it. And I was just, this is just like again, this just sounds so fictional that this is why it took me so long to process all this shit, because it was just so stupid and childish and like, really? Like, really? This is what you put a young adult through, / teenager through for 4 fucking years? And this is just talking about 2 scenarios in grade 12. And I have covered a lot more shit that has happened, and it's just like, really? This is what you put a human being through, and you're okay? You sleep fine at night? Everything is honky-dory with your life. You're fine with it. Your conscience is clear. All of them, include the whole fucking school. Like, it's just, I don't know. You know? It just boggles my mind, and there's just so many other stories like this, and when I just wanted to come on here and tell a story time, because, you know, I've just been dealing with a lot of stuff mentally, preparing, going back to an unhealthy work environment that, I don't know. You know, I'm trying to do this project on the side that has my heart and soul, and I know it's going to take time to put together. And unfortunately, you know, again, I talked about this last video. I don't have much of a choice but to go back to this job until this project is up and running. Just how everything is sorted out. And I'm honestly disappointed in it because of the fact that, you know, it used to be really fun, and now it just doesn't seem fun. It doesn't seem like it was. And it just reminds me so much of my high school years and, you know, previously jobs where it's just like everybody's two-faced, and it's just like, why? Just why is the question. It's like there's no necessary reason behind it, you know? But anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. This is a long-ass video. I told 2 stories. Anyways, thank you guys for strapping in and listening to this unfortunate, you know, situation that I had to go through for multiple years. But, you know, I'm here and I'm killing it slowly with my life. Anyways, guys, never give up. Always keep fighting. Remember, you are enough and you're very much loved. Until the next video, guys, stay safe and see you.